Okay, it is 10 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and then other people can just come in and join as they get here and have time. Welcome to everyone to joining us for this webinar Wednesday. My name is Sharon, and I'm with SIPA, the Statewide Internet Portal Authority. Today's webinar is with John Kleinhens, Olivia Pranzo, Stephen Kreutzfeldt, Victoria Loparina, and Adam Lyons with DocuSign, who will be going over the ease with which you can integrate DocuSign electronic signature software with Salesforce, your customer database tool. Before we get started, please note that during this webinar, you are muted. If you have questions or would like to communicate, please use the Q&A feature, and we will unmute everyone at the end of the webinar for any remaining questions. We'll have some poll questions for you to answer during the presentation, and we appreciate your feedback. Please welcome our guests, and again, thank you for joining us here. We greatly appreciate your time and our presenters' time, and we look forward to what everyone has to share. Also on the call is SIPA's Sales and Marketing Director, Beth Justice, and our Operations Specialist, Heather Nelson, if you have any questions for us. Thank you all again, and I will turn it over to all of you at DocuSign. Thank you.
Great, thank you for the intro. My name is John Kleinhens. Welcome, SIPA. We super excited. I'm an account director for DocuSign, covering state and local governments, mainly the larger customers we have here in Colorado. And I'm joined by Victoria Loparina, and I'm based up in the mountains in Colorado, a little town called Kremling, but I'm down in the Front Range once a week, and Victoria is in Colorado Springs. So we both have ownership of different accounts, and look forward to supporting your journey with DocuSign. So also on the phone, I believe Adam Lyons is on the phone. He's part of our leadership team, and Stephen is going to help with some of the technical items that we're going to cover off today. So we will go ahead and get started. Nice to meet everyone virtually. So we put together the agenda today really to focus around some of the technical components of DocuSign and integration. We thought Salesforce would be a good system to really focus on. So we're going to have a lot of detail around the DocuSign for Salesforce. But before we get there, we're going to talk about developer sandbox editions. Not quite sure the level of interest in that, or how many of the users that are on this webinar have actually gone to that level of detail. So we'll talk about some APIs, some DocGen for Salesforce, and also Q&A. So here's just a little slide with our mugshots. We put this slide together because we thought it would be important for us to show all the SIPA customers all the different installations of DocuSign across the state. So we have a real good swath of customers. State of Colorado, certainly one of the largest, but certainly cities and counties and municipalities and some of the other agencies, like a E470. So a great cross section. We appreciate everyone's business, and we'd love to help connect you all if you have any questions across the board. All right, so if we could launch the first poll today. So this is really the purpose of this is for us to gauge and get a better understanding of what you want to learn today. So we did our best shot at what we thought would be important. And again, we focused on integration, but we can talk about training items. If you have any specific questions, how do I do this? How do I manage users? How do I chase down an envelope? Anything that really might come to mind on your side. So we're going to leave this up, for about another 30 seconds or more, so we can make sure that we gather some of the answers. Are some answers coming in yet?
I see two. So, well, at least two answered. I don't see the actual answers at the moment.
Okay. I think you might see that when we close it out.
All right, 3 and 4 now. Excellent.
And again, it's super helpful for us, as presenters, to make sure that we have interaction with you guys out on the webinar. We just found that the majority of our customers are only scratching the surface with what DocuSign provides. So again, I support state of Colorado, all the agencies, some of the larger cities and counties, and Victoria supports, some of the medium-sized organizations that we have throughout the state of Colorado. And we just have a really deep support team on our side and super focused on the success of all of our customers. All right, you want to close the poll and we'll see what we got going here.
All right, it is closed and sharing. Are you seeing any answers? Let's see, what I see is product training, general process for obtaining funding for new software for CDLE. We are considering AO Docs as a document management system on top of Google Drive. I work on the Salesforce side, so I would love to learn more about how DocuSign can interact with our organizations, more about SIPA processes. Are there automated functions to DocuSign? I want to learn about CLM, admin settings, and the business usage of the DocuSign Salesforce integration caught my attention.
Yay. Wow. I'm impressed, man. That is awesome. Thank you very much. We'll if you could kind of help us, Sharon, as we go through this, to make sure we get some of those questions answered. So I'm on the kind of the sales, the support side, but I am just like a closet geek. So we're going to start right here at this link for the developer site. And Stephen, I'm going to ask a little bit for your help on this. And does my screen look good? It should be a full shot. This is a very solid place of information for DocuSign and all of our customers. So I logged into that link, and we'll send these slides over to you. It's the DocuSign developer webpage. All sorts of really solid information. We're not going to click through everything, but I wanted to make sure that everyone knew about this. And if you're not as geeky as I am, please share this with your developers or whoever else might be on your team that might want to integrate DocuSign with whatever system that you're looking for. So what we found is most customers are only using about 10% of everything that you can do with DocuSign. So Stephen, I'd love a little bit of your input, maybe what you've heard from customers when interacting with this webpage.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing to know about the developer account is it's designed for developers. It's specifically designed with all of the resources, everything that you need to take your current software environment and start connecting it and making API calls to DocuSign, generating envelopes, and really beginning to look at the holistic end-to-end business processes and how they would actually work with DocuSign. Best part about a developer account, no charge. So now you can actually start testing the different envelopes and the templates without having to worry about using up any sort of envelopes or any sort of additional charge. Once you have everything set up here, DocuSign's perfectly set up to just cut over and go into a live environment. So when you're ready to go live, DocuSign's going to allow you to do that very quickly and efficiently.
Great, thank you. And in the spirit of collaboration, I think we have a couple chat and maybe a couple Q&A. Anything relevant to the discussion?
So I threw those answers from the poll question in the chat, if everybody can at least see them if they can't answer. And then yes, the Q&A is still open, so throw your questions in there.
All right, thank you. So now we'll move on. And again, we will make sure that we share this link for the developer account after the meeting here. So I'm a visual guy. I love pretty pictures and such. So this is just a visual of all the DocuSign integrations. From a state perspective, the only system that I don't think we've integrated with yet is Tyler Technology. But there's a lot of Salesforce systems throughout the state of Colorado. And again, we'll be diving more into detail about that. But, you know, I thought it would be important for you to see some of the logos of the integrations that are pre-built. Many of these are pre-built on the third-party vendor side, you know, such as a Workday integration, you know, or a Dropbox integration, a SharePoint integration, so on and so forth. All right. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the Salesforce integration, some of the APIs, and just some of the workflow that we've seen. So when we talk about integration, we start here on the left with the pre-built integrations that I just showed you. And Stephen, if you could pull up, not right now, but on your developer account or your DocuSign account, if you have any connects done, I think that would be super helpful for the crew. And then once we do that, then we'll jump into the Salesforce integration piece. Depending on how the conversation goes, we can go deep into the customizable API tools and then any additional integrations with BI. All right. Before I move on, any other questions? Nope. All right. So I took a screenshot from my DocuSign account. So I have admin status, and under my settings, I wanted to show you just how easy this is. So here's a listing of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish integrations that are already pre-built. So this is under the settings. You can find it under settings and then the actual connect. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that we do out of the cloud, out of the box, have these integrations. Stephen, any comment on this item here?
Yeah, I always like to kind of just talk about the overall value of this. That DocuSign is already designed to play well with others. We recognize that the signing portion is usually just part of a bigger workflow, or what we've been referring to as a system of agreements. But what this means is that on day one, as soon as you get your DocuSign login and you have your account, if you're already using Microsoft products like Outlook, Word, things like that, you are already set up to connect those two and begin sending documents directly from Word, directly from Outlook. This isn't going to cost you anything with like professional services. It's literally just establish the connection and you're good to go. We can also set it up on the other end. So once these documents are completed, if you want to have them automatically saved back to someplace like OneDrive or SharePoint or Google Drive, we can do that as well. It's a very quick setup, can be done in about 5 or 10 minutes. No additional software needed, no professional services, it's just ready to go. So that's some of the value that DocuSign has by allowing you to use your current software and architecture to work seamlessly with DocuSign.
Great, thank you, Stephen. So now we're going to move into the portion of specifically related to e-signature and Salesforce. And Stephen, I'll ask if you could pull up a system that you might have access to, but while you are doing that, we found that there's a lot of benefit, just a lot of value with the DocuSign customers integrating, you know, with Salesforce. It is a supported integration. I've seen some of these integrations where it's just one button push, and that's called embedded signing, where you just push out from the Salesforce app with one button and it launches you directly into DocuSign with the pre-built information on the form. And that's really going to allow you to do business faster and to keep your users within Salesforce. So there's a minimal of the end user training on that side. So Stephen, I'll stop share. If you want, are you ready to show something from your screen, please?
Yeah, so I assume what you're referring to is the actual connector from Salesforce to DocuSign, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so just so everyone on the call is aware, that is a pre-built integration, what we refer to as a connector. The benefit of this, once again, is the ease of deployment. Once you have your DocuSign account set up, or as we mentioned, you can stand up a developer account, meaning that it's going to be free, there's nothing to pay for. You can go into your Salesforce account and begin establishing that connection and start tying together your Salesforce processes, things like sending out MSAs or what have you, and then making those calls and creating those envelopes in DocuSign directly from your Salesforce account. Now, to set this up, it's going to walk you through step by step. We find that anytime in software, if you can minimize the amount of professional services or the extra costs, and you can make things easy to use, they just become a little more sticky. It's easier to deploy. People start using it more often. And so we really got in and owned that along with our partnership with Salesforce to ensure that this is as simple as possible. So once your DocuSign is set up, it's all of this is really just establishing the connection between e-signature and your DocuSign account. From there, once you have, from Salesforce to your e-signature account. From there, you can begin creating templates. So right here, you'll notice I have 3 different types of templates, and these kind of frame the 3 different types of templates that you could use with your account. One of them is an NDA. It's set up to simply say, when we push a button, we want the NDA to come up and we want to be able to send it for multiple signatures. We're not passing any data. It's just quick out of the box, send a blanket template that really doesn't change too much for signature. Now, another one would be where we could actually merge fields. So this is going to allow you to start passing over and mapping fields from your Salesforce account into DocuSign fields. So I think the example I have is something like a contract cover sheet. If you know that you're going to be sending out this contract and you want to have some high-level information about the contract amount, the execution date, the expiration date, who the contract's with, who the signer is going to be, et cetera, we can do that automatically as well. And I'll kind of show you how we actually set this up also. You'll forgive my internet's moving a little slow today.
Well, I'm loving this, Stephen. This is great. Is everyone else excited about this? A little live demo.
This is what I do every day, and I can't tell you how happy I am that it makes my job easier, that I could just go right in here. I already have my template, pull it up, it's already got the signature fields filled out, and boom, I send.
There you go. There you go. It's like magic. Like magic.
Truly is. What's really nice about this, though, and my favorite piece, is just the ease of use. So step 1 is just setting up the document. What is going to act as the template? That could be a PDF, that could be a Word doc, basically anything that's going to be compatible with DocuSign, which is essentially all standard electronic formats. Once you have the document set up, you're going to say who the recipient's going to be. Now, the recipients with a contract cover sheet, it may need to have legal sign off on it or approve, and then also have maybe the vendor sign or something like that. So you would simply say who you want your contract role to be, and that could be pulled directly from the opportunity record or from the service record. So within within Salesforce, it can actually look at who your contacts are, bring them in automatically, and add them as recipients for the DocuSign envelope. Step 3, you would just merge your different fields. Now, these fields are all just more or less drag and drop, and essentially you're telling Salesforce which fields on the account record or on the opportunity or the service or the contact, et cetera, you want to bring over. And then all you need to do is drag and drop. So once you have those fields in place, you're essentially going to tell DocuSign where you want the Salesforce content to be merged into the DocuSign envelope. So if you can drag and drop, you can design these on your own. All of my fields are here as merge fields. They're all reading directly from the last piece I set up. So when I want to bring in something like a total, all I need to do is drag and drop the total, and it's going to be ready to go. So once you've dragged and dropped all your fields, you have everything established the way that you want it to look. The last piece is to do a little bit of housekeeping, add some options like if you want automatic reminders. I put automatic reminders on all of my documents, all of my DocuSign envelopes, because I want to make sure these are filled out and completed as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And sometimes that little extra, hey, this is still out there waiting. Do you think you can sign this today? That's enough to get people moving. We can also add an expiration date. This is especially popular with contracts. Contracts may only be valid for up to a month before you need to take it back to the drawing board. So we can say this is going to expire after 14 days and let them know prior that it's going to be expiring. So you've got a lot of flexibility as to what's actually happening with the envelope and how it's going to behave on the DocuSign side. And the last piece is just add your button. In this case, I named mine Connector Demo, and I said I wanted to live at the opportunity layout. So what you end up with, let's go ahead and see this in real time then. So for this example, I'm working out the opportunity. I recognize this may not be a one-to-one exactly how you're using Salesforce today, but I think that the tool set will make sense. The things I want to point out is the opportunity is linked to an account. So the account record has a lot of information about who this is pertaining to. The opportunity itself is going to have a specific contact role that it's pulling in. It may have additional notes and attachments that are pertinent to this opportunity. That could be additional data or subsequent forms, things like that. And we also have the products that we're looking to sell. So when I'm ready to actually generate a document, something like a contract or a contract cover sheet, I can click that button and it's going to bring in all the information that I told it in that first area where we just set everything up. So I dragged over fields like total and the account name and who the signer is going to be. So, and once again, true to DocuSign as well as Salesforce, we want to make this as simple and as easy to use as possible. So that way everyone in your organization is going to have no problem actually executing this. So they click the button, it's going to bring in the document, and we can add additional documents as well, either automatically from the opportunity record or manually. We can upload anything that from our Google Drive or from our regular standard Windows network folders. We can bring in anything else we want to be contained in the DocuSign envelope. But if this is ready to go, we simply hit next, and it's going to take us to step 2 out of 3. You'll notice it automatically brought in my contact from the Salesforce record. It knows we've been working with Gavin. It knows that Gavin's the main person, and so Gavin's the one we need to have sign this. The email subject came in automatically as well. That was preset, as well as an email message. Automatic reminders are already set every day, and the envelope expiration date has already been programmed at 14 days out. So the last piece is prepare and send. Now, again, most of this is already preset, so there's really nothing for us to do. It's meant to be as easy as possible. In fact, to go one step further, if you want to bypass all of these, you can do that. Then once you're confident with the software, it's going to behave the way you want to. Obviously, I recommend testing first, but you can quick send and have this all generate automatically and just send out without going through here. Mine is set up, though, to look at what it is that we're actually going to be pulling in. So all of these blank fields I added, it's showing that the requester name is me, Monica Hall, because that's who I'm logged into Salesforce as. I'm the one requesting. The department, that's my department as well. I'm in procurement. We have org codes, fund codes. The vendor name came in automatically. The contract will be signed by, and that will populate with Gavin's name when he signs it, as well as the date signed, that this will actually populate with the signer's name. Effective date, we'll need to add that in. Maybe we want to do that at this point. We could certainly do that. We'll say it's going to be effective tomorrow. And we want to make that read only as well. And you'll notice the total and some of the information about what's in the contract came in automatically as well. So once we send this out, oh, I'm sorry, my date is not valid. Try this again. All right, we'll try it this way. So once we send this out, it's going to create a DocuSign envelope and actually send it out for signature. While it's in flight, you will have the ability to keep track of the current status either from your Salesforce account or from your DocuSign account. But if we go ahead and log in as our signer, we'll be able to then see kind of what Gavin is seeing here. So there's our contract for us to review. We're now logged into Gavin's email. Now, I always like to point this out. When you receive a contract or a document to sign from DocuSign, we are not sending you attachments. There's nothing to download and sign and email back. What there is instead is an encrypted link for them to follow that can only be accessed from this email. It's also very intuitive. So when they see this bright yellow button, they really know what they need to do next, even if they've never seen a DocuSign email before. But when they click into it, they will need to agree to the terms and conditions, agree to use electronic signatures, and then continue. You'll notice that it basically flattened this and made everything here read-only, so they can't make changes or adjustments or amendments to the contract unless we want them to. If you want to have information, maybe like an email or a main contact or something like that, that you want them to be able to change, you can do that. You can make it editable. Not only can it be editable, but we have write back capabilities as well. So if we want them to be in charge of updating their Salesforce record on your end, so you log in and you see the most up-to-date email contact amount, etc., you can have them fill this out and have it automatically write back to Salesforce. But in this case, if everything looks good, we're going to go ahead, make a selection with a box, sign it with our name, and finish. Once this is finished, it's going to automatically trigger it to say that this has been completed, and it's going to save a copy automatically to the opportunity record so you can see the notes and attachments and where that document is going to actually reside. So there's our information as well as our certificate of completion, the full audit trail of what happens. So that way you're going to make sure that you are fully compliant as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn things back over to John to continue with the presentation.
Whoop, whoop, I love it. I love Stephen, baby, over deliver. Hey, Sharon, I know this is not part of the agenda, but I have some swag that I wanted to give out. So we have a hat and a pair of, they're called DocuSocks. So
That's adorable.
They're magic Docu socks, but I don't know quite how to award these as prizes unless we get a couple of really great questions or comments. Maybe someone wants to raise their hand in the webinar and ask us a real good question. We'll all make sure that we send out this swag to some folks. I saw Keena, I saw you as a participant, and I know you're not shy. So if there's any questions from your side, from the audience, you know, we can do it later as we work through the presentation as well. But trying to keep this fun and lively for everyone.
Well, I had a question. So when you send that DocuSign, can someone who receives it have it set that, say, they reassign it to someone else to sign because they know they're going to be on vacation for a certain week and then they're not going to be able to sign anything, so they can reassign that piece to someone else?
Yeah, so you have two different ways to do that. My favorite one is a relatively new feature that DocuSign added called delegated signing. It's designed specifically for what you're explaining. A DocuSign account holder could say that, listen, I've got a lot of things that are going to be coming back to me through DocuSign. I need to keep these moving, but I'm going to be out of office. And so they can name somebody else with a DocuSign account as their delegate. The certificate of completion will still show who signed, but it will notate that they're signing on the behalf of this person. So you still have a complete and accurate audit trail. The other option from the signer side, if they don't have a DocuSign account, you have the ability to enable can reassign envelope. So if it does go to somebody and they need to reassign it, they can do that and name somebody else to sign it on their behalf. So there's a lot of different options and flexibility to work with your specific situation.
Excellent, thanks.
Great answer. Thank you. Anything come through? I guess no one wants a hat or the magic DocuSocks. Come on now. Don't
Well,
hurt
we
my
have a
feelings.
question in the Q&A from Mark Maloney. He
All
wants to know,
right.
when Salesforce sends a document, who is the enveloper owner?
Yeah, so typically when you're sending a document from Salesforce, you have it linked to your DocuSign account, that it's a one-to-one. Think about it this way. When you have Salesforce, when you log in, it's an organizational software solution. It's owned by your org. All of the data inside of that is owned by your org and things like that. But you have your login so you can see your opportunities, your tasks, and everything else. DocuSign works the exact same way. It's an organizational account. So all the data and everything doesn't belong to one person. Benefit there is if they leave the organization, they don't take all those signed documents with them. And so what you're seeing then is going to be your DocuSign tasks, your templates, your data that you have the security in order to actually see and execute. So when you make the call from your Salesforce account and you create an envelope, you become the envelope owner, and then that could be tracked and seen inside your DocuSign account as well. If you want to transfer the envelope ownership, though, that is okay. And we can set up rules and tasks within the template. So once it's sent by somebody who may be at more of an administrative setting, needs to go to someone else to own, we can have that trigger automatically. So it sends it out and then immediately transfers the custody of the envelope to somebody who has a more vested interest.
All right. Awesome question. Hey, Mark, since you were the first one, you get your choice, buddy. You want the hat or the socks? So go ahead and type it in. And then Stephen, looks like we have another question from Roberta Lopez. Can we use our signature flow templates we've set up in DocuSign if we integrate DocuSign with Salesforce?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy to piggyback on the work you've already done. So if you want to bring in and utilize the templates that you already have within DocuSign, our team can take some time to actually show you how to utilize those very quickly and easily within Salesforce. This way you're not duplicating your effort.
All right, good questions. Roberta, you want the hat or the socks? I actually have more of these. I'm kind of teasing with you, but you just pick one of them and we'll make sure we get them sent over to you. These things are really, I mean, they're really comfortable and there is magic to them. They're called DocuSocks. All right. I think we got one more question coming in. Oh, Mark Maloney wants the socks and Roberta's the hat. All right. We got our winner, chicken dinner. So Stephen, we kind of already went through the DocGen for Salesforce, correct? Any other thoughts on this slide here?
Actually, fun fact, that was not DocGen. So what you just saw was the DocuSign connector. DocGen is a bit of a different animal. It allows you to seamlessly merge. So what you saw and what you witnessed was me taking DocuSign fields, placing them, and then mapping basically field to field from Salesforce to DocuSign. With Gen, it uses a little bit more of a, if you've ever used a Word doc and done a seamless mail merge, you'll know that it'll basically flex the actual text around the information that you're bringing in. That's what DocuSign Gen is designed to do. So think about any time that you have a dynamic table. So you have something like multiple line items that you need to merge very seamlessly in and really build a table out based on how the document's set up. And you need to be able to flex the text and maybe move the signature location down or up based on how many pages it is. That's what DocuSign Gen for Salesforce is designed to do.
Love it. Love it. Just another hidden feature that we offer all the customers. Thank you, Stephen. So again, as we talked about earlier, these are some of the benefits that you would get with integrating DocuSign with Salesforce. And I know we're focusing on Salesforce, but again, there's a ton of systems throughout the state. And it's kind of hard for us to go over all of the options that you have. So kind of as a follow-up, if there's any particular systems, that you're looking that you think might be an advantage for your agency or your department, and you want more information, either reach out to the team at SIPA or, I think we've met most of you guys, we'd love to, set up kind of a one-on-one, an architecture, kind of a whiteboarding, we can really do a hands-on workshop. And again, there's no charge for that kind of stuff. So if it does get into additional detail where there'd need to be a statement of work and some of those items, then we have a professional services team that would come in and actually do the work for you. All right. Sharon, how we doing on the questions? Anything new coming in?
Nothing else yet.
Okay. So again, this is just, yet one more slide on the different clouds that we work across. And I know the Salesforce with the Lightning and the platform licenses, there's a whole lot of custom built apps on top of the force.com that we can integrate with, both standard and custom objects in the Salesforce ecosystem. All right, so we're kind of getting to the tail end of the webinar today. So we have a poll. So I know we have some other follow-ups on, I think, CLM. I'm kind of curious on the CDE, how to secure funding. I'd like to take that offline if we could. I have a couple ideas, but it might bore the rest of the audience. But if you guys could kind of help us type in to this poll, what items would you like follow on with? And then in addition to that, if we've done a good job for SIPA and they invite us back, what other items would you like us to cover off on a follow-on webinar? So we'll leave this up for a few minutes, and I see we have a few more questions coming in the Q&A.
We do. We have 2 more in the Q&A. Where can I get additional information about integration in general?
Integration with DocuSign, there is a specific supports part of our support site that would cover all of that, and we can probably send that to you after the webinar. That'll be a good place to start digging in. If there's a specific solution or solution set that you're curious about, include that information as well. That, even though there are all these integrations, everyone is kind of its own animal. Each one is designed to do something very specifically, very differently. And that's where our team is strategically set up to really identify how best to utilize the solutions. A little bit about me: before I came to DocuSign, I actually spent 3 years doing software implementation in the public sector. And much of what I did was standing up integrations with DocuSign and the document management system I worked with. I always use the 80-20 rule. You spend 80% of your time getting into the weeds, getting into the trenches, identifying what the workflow looks like today, mapping out the most efficient process and where you're going to have those different swim lanes and those handshakes to hand the document process off from, whether it be Laserfiche and then over to DocuSign or over to Salesforce. Identify what that's going to look like, and then just build it out, execute it, and test, and test again. But our team can definitely work with you. We want to hear more about your business processes and workflows, and then see if that's something that we can even replicate for others. That we're all a community working together, always trying to identify the best way to strategize our software with the other software environment that you already have.
Great, thank you, Stephen. So the poll is still open. Are we getting many takers on some typed out answers?
We have 2 answers.
2 answers, all right.
And we had one more question in the Q&A that was, actually more. Should we test Salesforce integration in a developer environment?
It's kind of up to you, but I always recommend it. Yeah, I love test environments. I love making sure that everything is firing correctly. This way you don't have to worry about anything breaking. Not that it's prone to breaking or anything like that, but I think just best practice in general is to always test in a secure, stable environment.
All right.
Great. Is there one more, or is that the last question then?
There was one more in the queue. Oh, looks like we've got a couple more that have popped up. Oh, let's see. Nope, one more. Besides what you already discussed, what else does DocuSign integrate with?
So DocuSign has over 450 integrations today, and that number is growing every single day. So that's kind of why I mentioned if there's a specific software solution that you're interested in, let's talk about it. There are possibilities, capabilities with integrating solutions that are on-prem. If you're using something that's SQL based, I can say that it's designed and very sleek when you're connecting other web and other cloud-based solutions also. So there's no way that we're going to be able to bring up all of them. Yeah, what John has pulled up here are some of the big ones that we see fairly often, but just because it's not listed here, it doesn't mean we don't integrate with it. For example, I came from Laserfiche. That's still one that we come across a lot, and there is a pre-built integration with Laserfiche that is not listed here.
And from a state perspective, there's a lot of Google Drive integration. So if that is of interest to you, there's specific information about mapping DocuSign and dropping completed envelopes, contracts, documents into Google Drive. We have a couple questions in the chat.
Yes, these were the answers to the poll questions. So the first one was, I may have missed it, but is there a cost for the Salesforce DocuSign API?
If you use the Salesforce connector that I just showed, I don't believe there is an extra cost for that.
And then
Good question.
Do they wanted to know about DocuSign integration with iNotify or other database?
I will have to look into that. I haven't personally worked with either of those, but we'll take a note. We'll put that in the parking lot and we'll follow up with you.
All right. Well, from our side, I think that is a wrap. Thank you very much, everyone, for the participation, and I will make sure we get the socks and the hat out to our lovely participants. Anything in closing from the SIPA side?
I'm not sure who asked the question about iNotify, but that's a proprietary software that we use. It's one of our orgs in Salesforce. So if DocuSign integrates with Salesforce, it should integrate with iNotify. I'm not sure who asked that, but you can follow me up later if you'd like. This is Aaron O'Shea.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron.
Great. Thank you for the clarification, Aaron. I think sometimes it's hard, when these systems all of a sudden have names, like at the CDEC, the unicorn system. It's known to the user community as Unicorn, but it's actually built, on the Force.com stack. So, while we reference these things as the vendor name, a lot of times they have the catchy names within the agencies or within the departments. So thank you for that clarification. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I think that's a wrap. We appreciate your time and look forward to talking to everyone at the next webinar Wednesday.
We definitely do. Thank you all for joining us. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact either Beth or me or one of the DocuSign folks, and we can set up a demo Zoom call with everybody. And I think I've got our contact info. It's kind of squished in here. But if you want to return to this webinar, we will also be putting this recording up on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it later, or you can share it with your colleagues or anyone else that you think might find some use out of it. And we want to make these webinars useful in the future every time. So if you have any comments or suggestions of topics that we can cover, please do fill out our survey that we'll send out afterwards. And we look forward to getting back your thoughts and feedback, because we do appreciate that and read it all. So thank you all for being with us this morning, and we'll be back in May. So if you aren't subscribed to our newsletter already, be sure to do that so you can get the announcement on that and how to sign up. Thank you again for your time. We wish you all a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.